Inspiring connection. Restore. Renew. Reconnect. Live. Laugh. In love. Connections. Dream. Getaway Experiences. Brave Heart Workshops. Unique Getaways live with Jill Reynolds.
The Connection Show live. Restore, renew, and reconnect in connection, sponsored by Brave Heart Workshops. And joining me today is Gina Brogan, sorry Gina, from California. So Gina, if you wouldn't mind, would you share with the audience a little bit about who you are and what you're doing?
Why, thank you. Thank you for having me on here, and it's great to reconnect. I'm Gina Brogan, and I have a Second Act Life Coaching, and what I love to bring to the world is giving women a chance to reconnect with their inner being and remember who they are and what they're here for. And some of the ways that I do that is through online courses, one-on-one coaching, speaking at events, and my favorite way, retreats, in-person retreats where women get together at gorgeous locations and experience the opportunity to allow their feelings to come to the surface through various modalities and connection opportunities with each other.
And so Gina, share with us, if you wouldn't mind, how did you get into this? What was it in your life that led you into being passionate about doing this?
Well, I am basically in my second act. My first act of life was me being a people pleaser, very shy, quiet girl who didn't want to make waves and wanted to make sure that I was a good girl and keeping out of trouble. And in making those choices, I ended up in a very disempowering marriage relationship situation with two young kids that felt very confining. And I realized that I didn't know myself. I did not know even, I had said no and repressed my true desires, my values, and my purpose in life. So after leaving that marriage, relocating to another area where I really didn't know anybody, and also discovering my son who had issues, challenging behavior, and social challenges all of his life, we finally got down to the point of what that was about. He was on the autism spectrum, very high functioning autism, which is now, which used to be classified as Asperger's, is now classified as high functioning autism. And all of the challenges our family experienced through divorce, moving across the country, and then also having a child with really challenging behavioral challenges. Sorry for saying that word challenging so many times, but it was a great opportunity for all of us to rediscover our strengths and who we were really here to be. I remember a time when I had dropped my children off. They were very young. I dropped them off at school and was walking home, and I just prayed a prayer saying I really wanted to be the type of person who could help other moms who experienced similar life obstacles and challenges and thought that it was all that they were doing something wrong. And I remember also after praying that prayer, kind of laughing at myself going, yeah, who are you to do that? You're a hot mess. And I started to ask for what was next for me, because I knew that there was something changing within me. And I remember thinking about all of the people who had so generously helped me when I was really, really struggling at my bottom. And it was all types of people, from the dad on the playground who recognized how I smiled every day, even though he knew I was really, really struggling. And a good friend in this new school on that playground who invited me over to meet other moms, and then therapists and coaches and podcasters. All of these people sort of created this patchwork quilt for me of a lifeline to this version of me who I am now. And so I really started to put it together that actually I was becoming one of those people who could help others. And by sharing my story, sharing my healing modalities, sharing what's worked for me, and the changes and the complete transformation that me and my family have gone through, has shown me that really anybody can overcome any challenge. And
well, and with that, Gina, and for the audience to know, I'd love for you to share too about, with these new changes and discoveries about yourself. I know you a little bit from just connecting with you. If you could share the different modalities of wellness that you're using in your personal life daily, with the yoga and the journaling, and just share a little bit about how that has then enhanced the transformation in your life, the practices you're using.
Yeah. It's really interesting because I'm thinking about all of those, and I'm finding, as a lot of people are, through what we're now in like month 3, going into month 3 of quarantine, I'm finding that I'm not always doing those things that got me through other times. Like, I'm not doing yoga. I'm like, why am I resisting yoga? I am definitely doing exercise. Like, movement for me is a non-negotiable. And I noticed that I must move. So I'm finding other ways, and I'm just allowing myself that grace. As I've confessed to you and sort of explained to you, I'm discovering new things about myself, and I'm really protecting my quiet time. So meditation has always been, that's where I really took a big turn, turned like the Titanic of the momentum of my life around when I really started to meditate back in 2015. So meditation is still a staple in my life. It looks different every day. So meditation, I would say. Yoga is something that I have not been doing, and I cannot for the life of me explain why. However, I am spending time by myself on the lake with a girlfriend on the lake, paddling on our paddle boards, and just getting quiet in that sense. And I am, so other things, journaling. So the journaling is one of the things that I teach people. That's really my favorite modality to help people move through experiences and allow feelings to move through in order to manifest. And I help people create from their heart's desires, create the life that they want to bring into their reality through visions. And so I'm every day, whenever I possibly can, I've got my notebook, my journal, and I'm journaling, what my next house looks like. What I'm journaling experiences that, I'm journaling about retreats. And what my journaling looks like to me is really, really fun. Like, I will do, for example, a client testimonial that I make up, from my future self, like a client who just returned home from a retreat that I posted, and she's explaining how she feels completely transformed as a result of, her getting the courage to ask, her husband, can I go on this retreat? Do we have the money? Can we spend this time? Can I get this time away from the kids? Will you take care of them? And going through this personal transformation of standing up for herself and going after something that feels very exciting for her, but she's maybe is afraid to allow for herself. And so that's one of the fun things that I do in terms of journaling and visioning. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and I love that, because as you coach people who are stuck in life, you already have that vision of helping them to get unstuck, to get their needs met.
Right.
And so it's almost like, I was interviewing a woman who's a big pro-life advocate and has helped people through pro-life issues. And we were talking about how important it is as a parent to practice what would happen if your child came home and said, I just got a girl pregnant, or I'm pregnant, or they come home and you find out, they say, I just realized, I'm addicted to drugs, whatever. And to practice so that when and if those scenarios happen, you already know what you're going to say. So you journaling this is like a gift to your clients, because then they can take that and practice how to be assertive to get their needs met.
Right. Yes. Assertiveness is one of the biggest things that I love to teach people who are transforming in their lives, going from somebody who is disempowered to somebody who stands in their power, and practicing these, creating these visions and watching a transformation of somebody who is like, can't even fathom that in their life, to, oh, that's actually a possibility for me, is really beautiful.
Yeah, I love that, Gina, because many of us get stuck in that mindset. I can't go on a retreat, or I can't do a getaway experience because I don't have the money. And I've learned how to recreate with people and say, okay, what would it be like if you came up with a deposit and then could make monthly payments, and you work your way towards planning that? And my best testimonial that I feel is one of my favorite testimonials of all times is with a seniored woman who is, I want to say, about 73, on Social Security. She's retired, by herself, lives in a small, little, tiny apartment, drives a car that's about 10 years old, and she was in one of my groups. And when she knew about my retreats, my Brave Heart workshops, she wanted to come. And when I told her the cost, she's like, oh. But what she did is she saved every month from her Social Security. And she came to the retreat and paid for it.
Nice. Yeah.
As soon as the retreat was over, she said, when are you planning another one? And I said, 6 months. She goes, okay, I'm going to start saving now. And then the second one, she says, when is the next one? And she went to 3 retreats, making, and she only made about $1,800 a month. That's all she lived on. But she figured out. So I think it is this, manifestation in your mind. If you want it, you will do it. If you want it, you will do it. And I just believe that. I was a single, never married mom for 17 years, never got child support, just me and my son. And I was in outside sales, so I based a lot of my income on commission. And I can share testimonial after testimonial of how my sales and commissions came in to the penny of what I needed each month.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I said, oh, I'm going to plan that I'm going to make this. It was, I just knew I have to sell this amount, and these are my bills. And every single month they came into fruition. And I think when you can put it into your mindset that I'm going to make this happen and I'm going to be able to do it, and not be stuck in a mentality state of I can't, and just moving forward with that. So I love the fact that you're doing the journaling. And one of the things, I haven't been journaling, but one of the things that I have learned to do is when an issue comes into fruition, is to do a thing that I've learned called getting out of the helicopter and landing the plane. And what that means is, in life, we all go through in life different T's in our life, either large T's for large traumas or small T's for small traumas. But we all have T's in our life in trauma, no matter who you are. And I always like people to hear that a small T might be that you go through a divorce, which is a big T, and it's your first Christmas by yourself, and that's the small T. You're alone, and you don't know how to handle that being alone. So instead of just saying, I'm sad because I'm alone, what would it be like to write out in 1,000 words exactly what that experience looked like for you in detail, so that the person you're sharing it with, your life coach or your therapist or your best friend, can actually envision being right there. Like in my background, I have my beach scene because I love the ocean. And I love the fact that the trees are moving and my hair's blowing in the wind. And so, you know, when you look at that picture, you can envision being there. Well, what would it be like if you could write in words the exact scene in 1,000 words, not a whole book, and be able to utilize the emotions behind it, and the healing just transpires so unbelievably by doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that whole process is what I teach over and over again. Take that thing and you know, it's not about the retreat. It's not about manifesting that pile of money or the car or that relationship. It's what are those feelings that you really desire? Like, why do you want a relationship? What we really want is protection, connection, love, you know, partnership, whatever their feelings. And so when you can connect with those feelings and their heart feelings, bring that into your heart, well, you can look for evidence for that and start to feel it now. How can you experience now love? How can you experience connection now? And then you can start bringing those details into it. And it's just, then you start to feel it. That's how you become an energetic match for it.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful process, because if you're feeling the feelings of being in a relationship, or if you're planning a vacation, actually, I've heard that there are higher levels of happiness in the planning of a vacation than in actually experiencing it. So if you actually just go and plan a vacation and you do the research, like, oh, I'm going to go to Aruba or wherever, and like, this is the flight, this is where I'm going to drive to, this is the place I'm staying, these are the people I'm going with. You're literally immersing yourself in the feelings.
Yeah.
And it raises your vibrations. And then you can keep on doing it. And then, like you did every month, you met your sales goals based on what you needed. You start to be like, this is just normal for me to live like this and feel this way. And that's one way that people just manifest a whole new normal, by feeling it first.
Yeah.
And letting go.
Yeah, one of my very, very first sales managers taught us to take out one piece of paper, and on the piece of paper put down 5 days a week, and on those 5 days a week put down 4 time slots, put down 9 a.m., 11, 1, and 3. And then at the top of the page it said, plan your work, work your plan. And what we had to do is get on the phones on a Monday morning and book 16 appointments before we left the office. And each day was 4 appointments times 4 days, 16. And so I learned from an early onset of being a successful sales rep that I needed 16 set appointments for the day. And then around those appointments, I would cold call to get more leads for the following week. And so it was always true to plan your work, work your plan, you'll always be successful. And when I did this, it worked. And when I started to see my sales slip, I would take a step back and went, last week I didn't plan my work. I didn't plan, and so my plan failed. And so I just would get re-energized each time to plan it. So with that, I'd like to transition with you, Gina, and the audience, of asking you, so with this new pandemic and social distancing, what has connection looked like for you now?
It's looked like, because I, as I shared with you, I am with my parents and my oldest son here. It's looked like a lot more in person, just sitting down in real life, visiting with my people. And it's actually taken me offline more, which is interesting. And it's more connection with myself. I've spent literally 2 to 3 hours a day at the lake on my paddleboard. And so it's been a lot less, I have not been as visible online, and I've been spending more time just with myself and with my family, which I love. That's actually been one of my manifestations. I was journaling that for months, because I was living in Santa Monica and not really anywhere. Like my kids were staying at their dad's, but it was, we were isolated for so much. And now I have like most of my family right here under one roof, which is my favorite thing ever.
That's great. And what about goals? What about goals and dreams now for 2020? Where do you see those going? Heading?
To be honest, I'm not a huge goal person. I'm more of a, what's the feeling? What am I going for? I'm manifesting like the next home that we're going to live in. And that's one of the biggest things I think about and spend time journaling about. I'm bringing the details into focus and, picking out like countertops and heated floors and the view. So that's kind of what it looks like for me. I don't put a lot of timelines on my goals, but one of the things I am obviously really looking forward to, and there is no timeline, it's sort of when it's available, when the world is ready for being more face-to-face with people we're not living with, is the next retreat. I'm really excited for that. I'm putting feelers out there in different groups, like, hey, what would you be looking for in a retreat to feel safe not only for yourself, but after you spend time in a space, going back to your family. So I'm looking for, that's the other big thing on my radar right now that I'm kind of like, all right, I'm starting to think about that again. How about you, Jill? What's going on for you?
Yeah, and I would say that transitions for me too with you. Is my last question on that is what is the next getaway experience look like for you? So as you're transitioning and you're hearing, what is coming up for you now as a getaway experience that you'd like to do?
Well, I had one planned in May where we were going to the beach here in Northern California, sort of the hometown beach from where I grew up. And it was in this gorgeous, huge home right on the cliffs. And it was yoga, meditation, journaling, nature hikes. So I'm really kind of looking forward to recreating that and promoting that. And what I love about that is it's sort of maybe more of a locals retreat. So it's a driving destination just to give people, get their feet wet in the next step of opening up. And so that's really where I'm dreaming right now.
Yeah. Well, I did just meet a lovely man and his daughter on a Facebook Connect, and him and his daughter just built a new an adobe home on right by a river right outside of Boulder, Colorado, with 8 bedrooms. So that might be a fun one.
Ooh,
and then I found
nice.
An amazing ranch in Montana with horses too. So, and of course mine is Aruba. I'm in love with Aruba. So I'm looking every single week of when Aruba gets to open again, because that's my go-to. With social media transitioning and stuff, and so many new apps coming out, if someone were to tell you had to get rid of all your apps except for 2, what are your 2 must-haves?
I guess I would have to say Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
That's where, those are where my businesses are born and thrive.
Okay. So the connection apps. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And what is one fun fact the audience would love to know about you? One fun fact about Gina.
Fun fact about me. Gosh. Well, I really am looking forward to the day that I run into Elon Musk, because I'm quite certain we're going to meet in Starbucks, and that's going to be really fun. I really look up to Elon Musk. I think he's awesome. And I love that his rocket just shot up some live humans. Yes, that's a fun fact about me. I just think he's really cool, and it would be really fun to run into him and have coffee and chat.
That's funny you said that, because just before we went live, the rocket took off live, and I was sitting here praying, please have him be safe, and they took off. Took off fine. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect launch. We're back in space. It's been what has it been? 10 years? Oh my goodness.
11 years. Well, I think it's 11 years since they've taken off from American soil, humans.
Right. Yeah.
So
this is
I
great.
think some have taken off from Russia. It's a really awesome thing. And then the next phase is hopefully the reusable part will come down and land safely.
It came down fine. It came down. They showed it. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch it. So yeah, it came down.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's phenomenal. What I'd like to do now is just show Gina's bio on the screen here. She's an amazing woman, and it's got her contact information of how to find Gina. And so please reach out to Gina and learn more, and she'll be able to work with you and share with you how to do this amazing journaling and transformation and healing. And so I just think it's been wonderful, Gina, getting to know you. And I'm really grateful that you've had this opportunity to connect with your family and your son.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Just do a whole new movement. My new movement, my favorite is water aerobics. And when we jump off here, I'm going to go do my water aerobics.
I love that too.
I committed that no matter what I book for the day, I'm giving myself 2 hours a day to be able to do my aerobics and then get cleaned up again before I go back on social media. And I'm not letting anything get in my way at all.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Good for you. That's great. Wonderful.
The non-negotiable. So with that, I'd love to just close today with thanking the audience for joining us on the Connection Show live. And one of the things the Connection Show has been doing now is we've been moving and transitioning from the live shows with these amazing leaders into a Connection Show gathering for you, the audience. You guys are so important to us. And so we're having these Zoom connections every Monday evening. We're having them at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in order to join us, I've started a private Facebook page called the Connection Gathering Tribe, Connection Show Gathering Tribe. You have to go onto that and join with your email so that I can securely give you the Zoom to get onto that show. So we will be on that show on Monday, and we hope that you'll join us on Monday evenings. And Gina, if you can jump on, the audience will be able to connect more with you on that show. So
awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gina, for taking time out today and joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Let's connect now. We can dream together to renew, restore, and reconnect with wellness in our life. Go to braveheartworkshops.com. Join me for weekly Zoom connections on Facebook at facebook.com/Braveheart Workshops. Thanks so much for joining the show, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday nights.